8 jobs in 7 years. In that 8 years, all right, I took up 7 jobs. If I really to put into numbers, I think I got more than 50 to 100 job offers. The question that you just asked me was a question where I get in almost all the interview sessions. Imagine you once acquired something in your mind, and that's your knowledge, skill, whatsoever. And now I'm asking you to throw it away and start all over again. Will you want to? I don't want. Only when we have the ability to unlearn, then we will allow new things to come into us. So you mentioned the word sense of belonging. Yeah. So I think that is a good starting point. What does sense of belonging mean to me? This is a secret I tell you from Gen X.
Welcome back to the A to Z podcast, your playbook for life, career, and everything in between. I'm your host, Elton, and I'm the founder of Break the Box Services, and we are the producer of 4 podcasts spanning across life, career, and business. As you can figure out, I'm a Gen Z, and I work with my fair share of people who are way more experienced in what I do. And this podcast is a way to share their experiences and how we can learn from them also. So one of them is actually my client turned mentor and friend, Koo Lily. All right. So she's the founder of MQ Training, Coaching and Consulting, speaker, leadership coach, and author of the book Lead Change Hard Way. All right. So Lily has trained companies from all over Asia for the past 30 years, and she has seen a fair share of change, especially in the workplace over all these years. So Lily, welcome to the show.
Thanks for this invite.
I hope that encapsulates your whole introduction perfectly, right? Or is there anything you want to add on?
Maybe just now you said I'm your client turned friend, mentor turned friend, right?
Uh-huh.
Just want to add on one more role to that. Yeah, maybe I see you like a little brother too.
Luckily she didn't remove any roles. Actually, we're not friends, Oh, suck it.
Okay, not replacement, it's an addition.
All right, that's nice, because I feel sometimes it's also in the industry, it's nice to have someone like a 大姐姐 to show you the ropes. And today we're actually going to talk about something that we actually discuss all the time. And especially in the training space, I follow her to other sessions. One thing that comes up very frequently is actually the future of the workplace, right? And today we're going to discuss how it actually looks like, what the future of the workplace looks like, and also what can we do to thrive. But before that, I actually find something very curious and interesting about you, which is your early career.
All right.
MQ has been here for 20 years. You've been in the industry for 30 years.
Yeah.
But when you started off your career, you said you actually job hop, I think, 8 companies.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
I feel embarrassed, although I have actually said this many times in public and in person with you. But that was a time when I started my career. I had big dreams, and I had certain expectations of what organization's culture should be. And also, I was a fast learner. So if I were to put myself in the context of work today, people or organization might call me hypo or talents. But at that point of time, 30, 40 years ago, we didn't have that. Anyway, so having said that, I was the one who kept chasing for a dream workplace, which tried to match it as close as to what I had in mind. Good culture, people-oriented, heart-centered, all those things I believe in. I kind of didn't find many at that point of time. So that was one of the reasons I job hop quite a bit. And not only job hop, I hop into different industries, different roles in 8 years or in 7 years. 8 years. Okay, let me put that again. 8 jobs in 7 years. So in the journey of job hopping, if I were to look back now, I must say, sometimes it's not just about the external factors of organizations then did not meet my expectations, but very much along the way, I readjusted my frame, how I look at the corporate world. Something I learned, but this lesson came late, only after I have started my company and also worked with many corporations.
What do you mean by you readjusted your look of the workplace? Especially back then, I think it's a totally different.
Oh yeah, very different
landscape than today.
Yes.
What was your thought when? What did you switch from?
Say for example, I look for culture. I look for a very maybe I benchmark it against many companies in my mind, which I thought they should have that kind of culture. A culture where they place people first, a culture where it is not solely just performance oriented, but there's this heart in it, a culture where we can work like brother and sisters, a big family, that kind of thing. I think Gen Z doesn't like to hear about the family thingy. But anyway, yeah, so that was what I hoped for. But when I didn't get it, or when I didn't experience it, although with performance shown and all this, I just felt something was missing in me. So I thought, since I was young, why not I just hop to another industry, just hop to another role, just hop to another company, to give myself another chance. Yeah, to give myself another chance, whether another company has it or not. Something like that.
Was there a stigma back then? As I think with job hopping, I think last time we focused a lot on loyalty. When you job hop, was that something that came up like, hey, why were you hopping jobs, every year or so? Did that ever come up?
Yeah. Just like what people say, when one doors are closed, it actually opens up another. I realized in my job hopping, because I need to look for another job, I need to look for another industry. Like I said, it's not only different company, different roles, different industry. So in that job hopping process, what we need to go through is, of course, the interview process. So I became very good in attending interview. I was a very good interviewee. The question that you just asked me was a question where I get in almost all the interview sessions. So I position and learn through hard ways to position myself well so that I get the job. So another number to show. In that 8 years, all right, I took up 7 jobs, right? But if I really to put into numbers, I think I got more than 50, in between 50 to 100 job offers. Imagine how many interviews I went and how good I was in
Getting
interviewing. Being interviewed.
Okay. And I think this will probably help people who are going through this, especially now with a lot of people job hopping. How do you answer that question? Why do you job hop? How do you answer that?
Oh, in fact, at that point of time, I already realized most of the interviewers or companies, which are actually the same today, they are not really looking for the answer as in answer, because there's really no answer. Just I think on your feet, we train people how to answer something which is within very short time. So I realized at that point of time, interviewer does not look for your answer as a fact. Why are you hopping and things like that, but they look at how you reply it. The way you reply, the how, show your character. Just to quote, I remember one of the interviews I went to, I was with the Japanese MD and then the head of HR and head of marketing. I was interviewing for management trainee. That was the final interview. So that came this question. They asked me, right? Why do you want to join us? Well, at that point of time, I sensed in the room that, this group of people, they are quite down to earth and they maybe like some witty stuff. So very instantly, this is how I replied at that point of time. I said, because, well, in your job advertisement, that time still newspaper, in your job advertisement, you stated good remuneration package awaits for the right candidate. Somehow I pointed to myself and highlighted the remuneration part. All of them laughed and laughed and laughed. So I think they didn't expect a management, someone who is coming for a management trainee role will share that. Another one I now recall. I went for another interview. In fact, this is the company that actually got me into this industry of learning. So again, in my final interview, the directors came from Singapore, they sat there, and then that was again a panel interview. So what happened was I waited quite long outside, almost an hour before I was called in for that interview. So one of the questions they asked, what's your hobby? They asked me, what's your hobby? What do you do during free time? So, well, I said, okay, I do sports and then I play badminton and then at the same time I read. I read. Then they ask me, okay, what sort of books do you read? Because in this industry, they value reading, right? So they, what sort of book do you read? I said magazines, books, or whatsoever. Oh, then they said, okay, so what is a book that you just read recently? And then at that point of time, again, I sense, sensing is important. I sense they can take joke and they can take a little bit of, in Malaysia, we call it tekan. So I replied, oh, okay, the most recent magazine I read was actually the one outside while I was waiting. Your company magazine. So again, they laughed. But the moment they laughed, I knew I got the job. So that's how I show my character in the interview. Instead of answer standard question, I give a little bit more to showcase my character.
I think there's one more thing I just want to move into, especially regarding interview. I've came across this, that when in the interview, it's actually about both sides trying to deceive each other. As a interviewee, I'm trying to tell you how good am I and trying to get the job. And as an interviewer, you're trying to promote how good is your company is in order to get this talent. What's your thought on that?
Oh, okay. In fact, things have changed a lot. A lot of organizations we train today, we train actually on interviewing skills. Yeah. So again, things that we highlight no longer look for, the company no longer sell because it's painful for people to come in and then leave if does not match what is it. So I think it is, from company's point of view, is actually back to what we really are. So we want to tell you the truth. We also assess you from different angles. But again, coming back to from interviewee perspective, how do I portray myself instead of wanting to get a job? So I had a few mental notes before I went into the interview session. That is, be myself. Be myself. So when I said that to myself, I realized I didn't reply the question by the book, but I showcase who I am, number one. Number two, after maybe 2-3 jobs, I also realized, what's the point? What's the point of getting the job? It's just like from the company's point of view, right? What's the point of getting the job? You waste a few months, go in there, try to adapt to the culture which you don't belong just because you want the job. So I rather really tell them what I want, the very authentic part of me, so that the alignment is made during the interview as much as possible from both sides. I also wished I didn't plan, okay, by the way, I didn't plan to leave. I didn't plan to hop. I plan to stay. Yeah, that's what I want to highlight. I think all Gen Z these days will come with the same hopes and wishes like me, right?
I don't think so. Anyone goes in the company with the goal to leave the company.
You are right. Nobody wants to go to the company with the goal to leave. We all want to stay. We all want to, I don't know, grow together with the company.
You belong, not exploited, and actually it's very hard to be at one company and then a year later I need to go to another company, learn new culture, new working.
It's very tiring, as I'm showcasing and highlighting and seem very proud of the number I have, number of companies I have joined, but the adaptation process still take up a lot of mental space, still actually drain you. So really, what's the point? What's the point?
Right. I think that's really interesting, especially 30 years in the industry. This thing is like, what, 30 years ago? When you're job
More
hopping?
than 30 years ago.
More than 30 years
I'm
ago.
30 years in the industry. All these things I've shared with you actually is, if I may rewind, it's before the 30 years. Okay, that tells my age. Okay, please, we stop this subject.
Yeah, so,
no kidding.
I mean, it's been so long, but the basics of actually the workplace actually are still the same. Right?
Yeah,
and,
it is.
With 20 years running, MQ and, seeing so much change. How was the journey, coming out from corporate and moving to your own business?
Wow. As I'm planning for the 20th anniversary now, a lot of thoughts, emotions, feelings kind of start to surface. I really didn't plan to form the company and also to be in this business for that long. Some more, because of the history I had before the 30 years, right? The 8 companies, the job hopping, and then now you stay in one industry, one company, your own company for 30 years. Lots and lots of lots and lots of changes I've been through, for the 20 to 30 years.
What was the biggest change that probably you have gone through?
The biggest change, there are many changes, but if you were to talk about biggest change, will be very much on the people I work with now. I think when I first started, to be very frank, really, I didn't plan this long. So I was thinking in my mind, especially when, as I mentioned, I was in corporate before. So very much, although put one foot into being an owner for a training company, but on the other hand, also having very much the mindset of a corporate employee. Thinking that I'm just here, earning enough, doing enough, use my own resource as in the only resource I have to provide services to other clients. So very much of, okay, cukup makan enough. Okay, as long as I have this for myself and then I can do it within my own resource, I'm fine. So the biggest changes, one of the biggest changes, if I look back, will be very much on the team that I'm working with now. The team of trainers, the team of my associates, my partners, all that come together to make it sustain for so long. That would be the biggest changes. But this change does not just like happen overnight. It happens slowly over the years. So now I look back, then only I realize, this is the biggest change.
Was there a point, that one point that you thought, I should actually continue to do this for like the next, how many years until today? The switch from, I think, earn enough for myself, just enough, until, I actually want to grow this as a business.
The point come when I realized with these resources, people I work with, we can do more. We can do more, we can contribute more. So that became a light bulb moment in my mind. And also, it's like the interdependency between us makes me even more want to do more, so that we can give more, we can also get back more, not within me, but with a bigger pool of people. So that feeling is very different. So if you really talk about a point where I want to do that, not really, but it actually happens progressively. But if I were to move back a little, talking about if I were to convert your question to, was there a point where I thought of giving up working with a group of trainers? I did, because before I kind of like stabilized the team, there was one time where I had very bad experiences with some of the people I work with, the associate trainers I work with, to the extent of it was actually giving me a lot of stress to fulfill the kind of quality I want to give to my clients. So there was a point of time where I thought of giving up. Okay, let's back to my own cocoon again. I do myself. Okay, roll up my sleeve. I do myself better. So the transition wasn't easy, but glad that I kind of like went through that.
And I think that was a moment where you transitioned to from self-employed to really.
Oh yes. You thought having a business certificate makes you a business owner. Not really. We may be holding that cert, but the mind still very much corporate, very much employee based.
Okay, so I'm just curious. So I think we always talk about skills right now. What are the skills that actually help you to make that switch, from being a self-employed, or even from working to self-employed to now running a business?
Well, I think there are a few skills. Number one skill is, shall I call it skill or mindset? The mindset of wanting to like never say no lah, never say no. I'm someone very, very curious. I'm someone whom I wish I can try new things. So I think that is also one of the reasons that make MQ training in the industry for 20 years, the keep evolving kind of mentality, which many companies or corporates value these days, agility and positivity. So this is number one, more of mindset in terms of skills. Number two, I think I'm lucky because I'm not just providing training. I myself has gotten good skills, good competencies in this area of training. So I'm able to discern what is good, what is not good in terms of training, and then what do clients want in terms of quality training, how we could help to create impact for the clients. I think being a trainer, facilitator, coach myself helps a lot. That would be the skill part. And the third part is also, shall I say this? The leadership skill, which I started to gain during the 8 jobs I was with. I was with many leaders, right? If you can imagine 8 jobs, many leaders, some good ones, some not so. Some maybe I'll not use the word good or bad. Maybe someone which I aspire. I learn from them, or I learn not to be like them, that kind of thing. So that sets the foundation. So when I start to lead, because when you transit from just a business owner by yourself, a sole proprietor or whatsoever you call it, to having a team with you now, it's again, just like how we train organizations transit from self to team leadership, it's about how we get everyone together. So leadership skill is certainly one of it. So these are the 3.
And I think the workplace has changed so much since.
Tell me
years.
about it.
So in terms of the workplace, I think you have seen the internet, coming in. You have trained through that, even trained through now recently AI, the millennials, and now Gen Z. So which has been the most challenging change over the past few years?
The past few years?
I think throughout your 20 years, what has been? I'm just curious. Are we the hardest, or there's something else? I think maybe AI now is something that everyone is struggling with.
I really don't see if I can put a ruler and measure which part is the hardest. Each phase has got its hardship, talking about the corporate environment. One of it, I must say, the pandemic really give a shake to the corporates of how we work. But now I look back, we don't look at too far away, but just look at these few years since the pandemic happened in 2019, something like that, or 2020, till now, 5-6 years time. At that point of time, the suffer or the challenges we had during the pandemic kind of like push the transformation into technology faster, right? Before this, everybody, pre-pandemic, most organizations realize and understand and have the awareness that, IT is important, technology is important. But
there was no
everyone,
push.
Exactly, there's no push. Everybody kind of like, I know, so what? And then industry, businesses also did not put much effort to put, yes, I do, but the pace was much lower. But during the pandemic time, that was a time where everybody kind of like put into a pressure cooker. In order for you to get out, you must really do something. So you see, that kind of pressure really give everyone, we call it another type of change, where you got no choice. You really, really have to do it. So that gives the technology a push. So you see, right after, when things settled down after the pandemic, when all of us can start to take a breath, and then we realize, we have gotten so much. So now it's time for us to kind of like solidify, makes whatever we had during the pandemic or invented during the pandemic a little bit more, a little bit more acceptable by the market and things like that. So that's why you see these few years, what we have these few years, I would say it's actually a product. A product or a byproduct from the pandemic moment. Of course, again, if you track back, there were many, many moments that actually, like waves, that push it forward. Yeah. So I would say if you ask me which period will be more challenging, not really. But for me, I would say maybe as I'm standing here now, will AI be one? Not really. In fact, to be frank, I really reflect upon this question before I answer. Yeah, as long as we have the mindset to want to give it a try.
And I think now the buzzword is adaptability, future proof, upskilling has been really thing that we're pushing forward. But what do we upskill in? What are some traits or skill sets that you have seen from people who actually thrive through change? Like you have seen people, pandemic, before that they were nobody, but after the pandemic, suddenly because of that, what are some of the traits or some of the skill sets that help them?
The skill set, okay, many corporates will not call this a skill set, but I personally see this as a skill set. That is the ability to unlearn. Yes, maybe many corporate will have very nice term, but to me, I call it the ability to unlearn. Yeah, only when we have the ability to unlearn, then we will allow new things to come into us. And people thought, or many would think that, unlearn is so easy. Unlearn what easy? I just unlearn. But imagine you once acquired something in your mind, and that's your knowledge, skill, whatsoever. And now I'm asking you to throw it away and start all over again. Would you want to? I don't want. 20 years MQ training, would you want to throw it whatsoever it is and start all over again? I walk this far, you ask me to start again. Of course, that is from a joke perspective, but the skill to unlearn. So, for example, when you talk about AI, I myself also trying very much as a Gen X to adapt to this change, to adapt to this technology. I realize in my usage of the AI from day-to-day basis is getting more and more these days. And what am I unlearning all this is, I can do this actually. For example, we talk about writing a caption for social media or what. Can I do? I can. Can I make it better? I can. But it takes time. It takes time. So for me to unlearn and without owning this piece that, it came from me. Because sometimes it's a very short feeling, when you're able to write something so good, so well, and it goes through you. You think, 1-2 hours just to get it right. Wow, you feel real good about that piece. But now I'm asking you, hey, actually you don't have to. All you need to do is ask AI to do it. Within seconds, you get that. The feeling of, like that. Is it mine? You don't feel the ownership of it because you did not involve much in the process of making. But it is another skill set of, if I didn't prompt the AI with good prompts or whatsoever, the AI will not come up with this piece. So now the mindset of unlearning is unlearn, I need to do it myself, to learning that my skill set now is instructing, prompting, getting it right, critical thinking, so that I can give feedback to AI, to whatever. Not, I'm just talking about the generative AI. So anyway, so before that piece come out, it doesn't work by itself. So you see, the unlearning part, unless you're able to unlearn that, you keep wanting to do it yourself, you will not want to switch to use AI. I experience it every time when I use AI. So sometimes I even question, can I do better than this?
I think that's a very good, especially now AI, everything seems to be generated by the, click of hand. And come out, critical thinking skills is very important. You know, when you look at it, can I do better than this?
Yes.
What else is AI missing that with my years of experience, I'll be able to add in, right? So, and I think this brings us to one very interesting thing that I've seen you post out recently. You're actually giving out free, complimentary, programs as part of a 20th anniversary learning fest. What's this about? And I saw one of them is actually AI email writing, which I'm quite interested about.
Oh yes, you are right. We are celebrating 20 years this year for MQ Training, the company I founded. To be exact, the birth date is 25th of November.
Okay.
I will sing a birthday song that day.
Yeah,
So
remember to wish
in
25th.
conjunction with this, I thought, I really feel many of my clients have actually supported me all these years, and really want to use this opportunity to thank them and celebrate with them together, and giving these 6 programs, including myself, one of the trainers in the 6 programs here, free or complimentary to companies to register. On the other hand, the purpose of this anniversary learning fest in November with 6 programs on complimentary basis is also a way for us to reach out to more new clients, because I believe the journey continues. I hope to be in your podcast again 25 years, 30 years, and we talk again. At that point of time, more clients that me and my team can help, it with our level best to make it, to make learning a lifelong thing for everyone. And I'm also very thankful because to make it possible, we have many sponsors support who actually help us in this anniversary learning fest. That includes the trainers, the 6 trainers, or the 5 trainers plus me 6, who voluntarily and say, or maybe say yes the moment I ask them to sponsor it. So very grateful.
I got a question. Why do you pick that 6 training programs out of so many things you could train on? Why was that 6 chosen?
Okay. At this point of time, as I mentioned, MQ20 is 20 years. MQ training is 20 years. So at this juncture, when I reflect back, change keeps moving, right? So just now you also asked me a couple of questions. What are the things that needed for now in terms of skill set? So having said that, I do not want to provide just any training program, that have been around for so long, right? I think we have heard of whatever skills that you see usually for corporates. So these 6 programs are selected based on a little survey and also from my observations of the industries all these few years. What the skills that can help them now and also in future. So change goes on. So do we. So what are the future ready skills that we could use to help us more ready for the change coming after this? So this is one of the reasons I picked the 6 programs. And coming back to what you say, yes, that's right. You see this writing email with AI, writing empathetic email with
It's
AI.
like
Heart with
Yeah,
heart,
with
heart,
heart.
H, AI something, yeah. The intention is to help people these days to write empathetic email. Empathetic, again, like I mentioned just now, does it mean to be, I do it because I have the heart, where AI where got heart? But again, it's a blend of my experience, my heart, but with the help of AI. How can you blend that and write a very empathetic email? So that's what that program is about.
Okay, that was very interesting. So what are the 6 programs and how can people register for this?
All right. Well, these 6 programs include, number 1, agility. So it's about how can we have the agile mindset. Number 2 is leadership brand, where I think leaders these days, you do not want to follow any leader. So you want to have that branding of yourself also. That's leadership brand. And I'm actually doing Think on Your Feet, one of the licensed program to help us present and talk and reply questions in a more instant manner with an impact. And we have got an immersive program called CORE. It's a leadership program where we're going to use experiential approach for leaders to reflect upon their leadership style. And the other one will be the one that we just mentioned.
Yes.
The email with empathetic writing email, empathetic email with the help of AI. And last but not least, as we have covered just now, important for us to have positivity here as we sail along and follow this wave of change here and next. So PQ, we call it, is positive cohesion or positive intelligence is so important. So in all, these are the 6 programs that we have for our clients this November.
All right. Thank you, Lily. We will take a short break, but if you're interested in all those 6 programs, I'll put a link in the description down below. You can go check them out. There's more information there. If you need any help, feel free to drop us a comment or even message us. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. And since we're actually a Gen Z podcast, and actually I asked a lot of people about, how we work with Gen Z, and, and in the workplace, there's not just one generation.
Okay.
There's a lot. And one of the things that you actually coach on is XYZ in the workplace. And I'm really curious, how does that go, and what would you guys emphasize on when it comes to, cross-generational workplace?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's an interesting question. And having done many sessions on this, in fact, I must honestly confess that every time it still gives me that kind of aha moment. Well, let me go back to your question. One of the things that important is actually for each generation to accept one another. People say, accept? You mean accept? Sounds so simple, right? I mean, it is just back to basic, like just, it's the same like a couple, right? We can say, after 10 years of marriage, 5 years of marriage, you still hear differences each other talk about, and then they know each other very well. Say, for example, workplace XYZ and couple, all right? I mean, each party knows each party so well. And sometimes, because we know too much of what, let's say, if I'm Gen Z, I know too much of Gen Z, like that. Or maybe between the couple, all right? The husband will say to the wife, like that, my wife, like that. Yeah, you score 100. Yeah, you get a distinction for that knowing. But it's always back to, do you accept this behavior? And then it comes step 2. Then only how you work with them.
Are there any interesting stories like from your sessions that you can share that will actually emphasize this point?
Oh, definitely. I think one of the one of the very interesting thing I find, because in my session, one of the things that I get them to do is I break them into the XYZ group. So I got a few questions for them to actually share, discuss, and use anything non-words. Anything non-words to describe their upbringing. Yeah, so I have got things like toys I play with, my first birthday gift, where do I usually celebrate my birthday, how do you spend my time? And one of the questions I ask is, how do my parents punish me?
Oh.
Yeah, so, when I crafted that question, I thought I would have maybe different answers from different generation. And one thing very funny, throughout all the sessions, one thing come out, cane.
It's a universal experience.
Because to me, I don't practice caning, so I would never imagine, even Gen Z tell me they kena cane.
Yeah.
And then the one thing very interesting is, okay, although all generations got cane, but the cane changed in forms and shapes.
Yes.
Yeah, and one thing I find Gen X, generally, I'm talking about generally, their canes make from anything that their parents can pick. Stick, whatever nearby, just cane. So it depends on what is available, what is available at home. Yeah. Then I realized to the Gen Z, wow, Gen Z, when they actually draw their cane, got pattern one. And their pattern like that, sometimes got a curl in the back or whatsoever. Sometimes it's like I don't know, all types of different cane, depending which part of the world or Malaysia they come from. And interesting, I also realized, hey, those days, parents picked up what they have available to cane their kid. But these days, parents buy from Pasar Malam, DIY shop, their cane. Yeah, and some of them even say, Gen Z, coming from Gen Z, different types of cane. Where the parents actually get them to choose. You see, got choice more. That's the differences I see, which
that
I
was
find
me
very
actually.
funny.
When I was young, mom would say, "I'm gonna beat you,
All
but
right.
you can pick which cane I beat you with."
Yes. I heard a lot from Gen Z like that. I think maybe parents these days are trained that
Illusion of choice.
exactly, you must give them choice. Just like when you go to Pizza Hut, what pizza do you want? So even Kane also got the choice.
But how does this actually affect how different generations perform or approach workplace?
Yeah, I think coming from, let me take the two diverse one at the two angles, which is X and Z. Well, for Gen X, because of this way that they are brought up, so they tend to take things as it is. Because they see their parents take whatever and then cane them, so they go through that experience. So assignments given to them and all the thing, die they do. All right. So like you say, because got choice for Gen Z, choices, freedom becomes important to the younger generations, whereby if my parents have choice for me to even pick which cane to use, meaning you say, as an employer, you should give me choice, right? So if the deadline is today, that's only one more. Then in their mind, if you do not give, maybe in my mind, I would have different choices. I don't know. I'm just trying to relate this to what I see in class.
But I think for me, I was thinking along the lines of resilience.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether the amount of punishment, as a Gen X is a bit more than Gen Z. I would like to think we got a same fair share of punishment also, but that is like the major thing we see in terms of difference. When you talk about Gen X, oh, you guys are very resilient, you guys put in the work and everything. But what Gen Z is, we're not willing to put in the work. We are looking for easier choices, and I think it's fair because there are abundance of choices for us right now. And also you look at your peers. This person can do this and earn money, that kind of thing. But how has that, or maybe not even caning, but what has shaped the resilience in different generations, and also how you're seeing it in the workplace?
I see. If you talk about resilience, if I were to use again these two very distinctive, big gap of generation here is, this caning thing, for example, how does it shape resilience? It helps Gen X can tahan pain better. Can you imagine anything that comes handy? Then you will get the cane. It could be sometimes something really big, really hard. So I am in a way trained at the bodily level that I can take anything left, right, whatever weight, right? So given a choice of what cane do you want, it means, of course, I will choose for the lightest one, whatever which is least pain for me from the choices I have. So you see, that's how it shapes the workplace. So I can endure pain, whatever challenges come, or nights, overtime, whatever I need to do. That's part of mental pain, right? So these are the challenges they are more willing to. But for Gen Z, always look for options. Is there any other way that I can make it easier? So that's why for Gen Z, for them to get on and find a shorter way to complete tasks is a strength of theirs, which sometimes can be deemed as a weakness at workplace, right? So why do I need to go through that hardship? Yeah, I think the caning does have some analogy.
I just spit out like, oh, that's actually very interesting. I didn't think about this before I come into it, but now I think the question is, so how can we leverage it, or change that mindset to this is a weakness, change it to how can we leverage on these strengths, in organizations? What can we do? How do we reframe, how we talk to them, how we present the options to them?
Yeah, I think talking about Gen Z, important to again tap on their strength, their thinking pattern of choices. I think choices become important. So this is one of the strengths. So many of times for Gen X, deadline means one deadline. So when we actually tap on the strength of Gen Z, how would we kind of like tap on them to look for options too? So say for example, there's an assignment. When I talk to the Gen Z, do I kind of like, okay, this is what I have. What else do you have? All right, and maybe if you could tap on whatever AI, whatever it is, hey, help me find two more. Then before we decide. So I think choices become important. So that is how we could tap on their strength, of which sometimes because Gen X may have only one option, that could not be the best. For example, it only maybe come from experience. So that will be one way where we can tap on Gen Z's strength. Where else? How else can we tap on the Gen X? Yeah, with them able to look at one option with the laser focus to complete it, no matter what is it. Yeah, that is also a strength. So sometimes with tight deadlines, and then sometimes with things where you need them to complete, or sometimes things where it may not be too much out of their context of knowing, because of the limited choice thought I have, in order for me to complete things within the deadline. So sometimes I don't want to explore a lot of things. I just want to get it done. So that will be a strength that we can actually tap on.
I think that's also programs that think on your feet, look out.
Oh
and
yeah,
then on the
zoom
back
in and zoom out.
in and
Yeah,
zoom out.
yeah. So do we zoom out? Do we zoom in? There are times where we can zoom in, right? There are times we need to zoom in and perfect that point. But there are times we need to zoom out. That's why we tap on the Gen Z. Or else, for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, imagine if we got no choice, where else external business scene have changed, but we may be using the same way to do it all the time, which is not healthy too.
All right. That's great. Tapping on each strengths. In terms of when work is doing, when we're doing our work. I think one more thing that it comes up very often is employee engagement.
Okay.
Yes, work is one thing. Efficiency, productivity, but how do we keep Gen Zs engaged? They might be doing very well at work, everything, but they actually don't feel like they're engaged in the company. They don't feel like they're part of the company. How can organizations, make them feel belong? Don't say family anymore, right? We're not sticking there, but how do they feel like they belong? And this is a place where they can grow and thrive as part of their career.
I think first and foremost, do they want to be engaged? Or do they want to engage? These are the questions I ask myself instead of me giving myself an answer. First and foremost, do they want to engage? What's stopping them from engaging? If I were to try something small, the littlest, the tiniest, what would that be? Because Gen X like to talk about family.
Yeah.
Gen Z has not got a family yet, and the preference of life is very much different. So you mentioned the word sense of belonging. Yeah, so I think that is a good starting point. What does sense of belonging mean to me, right? I think for Gen Z, friendship is important, right? Friendship is important, peers. So this would be, I would say, the starting point for us to get them work together. So will be good to start with something and see how it goes.
I think I just saw your recent podcast with Mami, and how they have been crafting employee engagement, and is it something that every company can do the same, or maybe certain industries might have different expectations to how they engage employees?
It depends on companies, because the population and the ratio of the XYZ at workplace is different. Yeah, so for some industries or some companies whereby the population of certain generation are more, it's easier to craft employee engagement intervention to help to engage. But I have worked with companies whereby the ratio is actually quite even. It's actually quite even. So that's where you need to have maybe variety of just like when you go buffet like that, you have to craft a different employee engagement activities to engage all generations.
And I think this comes down to one very important question, when there is productivity and employee engagement and you really have to pick between one, how do you even balance it? Like, things have to be done, but then do we now really need to focus on employee engagement when the work is not, being done? Is it still as important?
If I look at this question, it comes from this very first point. These two, employee engagement and performance, meeting deadline or whatsoever, like if we were to tail it down, are different because employee engagement is a process where you need time to see engage. Engagement has to do with the heart. You can say, come engage, pop, immediately engage. But when you talk about project deadline performance, is something where you need people to see performance. Of course, people may argue, they say, oh yeah, you need to build that competency and all the things. But I find the performance part comes easier. So hence, if I were to merge the two together, we need to have this employee engagement first, have the counting, have the relationship, and then plus they are competent. Then in order for you to do the performance part, it becomes easier. So to me, it is not actually two things for you to choose between the two, but it is either sequential or it is either looking at from time to time perspective what you need to build in order for you to have one of it. Yeah, because if you were to have performance first, perform, here, engagement. Yeah, if you were to do the reverse, engage. All right, can you help me? I don't mind to spend the extra time to build on my competency or whatsoever, or to expand my competency or to build on my in order for me to perform.
So it's really investing in the relationship, the trust, and you're building up that tabong lah.
Oh yeah. You're right. It's a tabong. Or sometimes people would put it in a very layman term. They say this is to me. Maybe engagement is a process, and it's part of many factors that contribute to performance.
I think for me, I would say it's not that we're not willing to go above and beyond for other people. It's whether we have earned our trust and our willingness in the relationship for us to go above and beyond for you. And I think personally for Gen Z, we want to, we want to have that relationship where it's both ways. While for probably Gen X, I don't know whether this is true. You expect that from the start. You expect us to go above and beyond from the start, which we are like, 关我屁事, kind of thing.
Let me see. I take this question from, actually, to tell you the truth, Gen X like me also think the same. Why would I? Get my point? I said, why would I? I don't have trust with you. I don't have whatever. Why would I? I do have the why would I. Just like when my parent came me, why I cannot no? In my heart, I still have those voices. But if this is the only, like I said just now, choices, if this is the only choice I have, other people at my age also all kena cane no? I do want what you just said, right? But on the other hand, again, back to the choices thing that we talk about. On the other hand, like 关我屁事啊，什么什么. If I don't do now and whatever, I still have options ma. I can choose not to do. I can choose do tomorrow. I'm willing to risk for the choice I have for that freedom. But here, never mind lor. Tahan. Although in my heart I want. This is a secret I tell you from Gen X.
All right. I cannot argue with that, coming from her.
Okay, sorry, cannot argue because Gen X, right?
There's basis for it.
Yeah.
Now I think it's down to preference. We have a lot of options in this age and time. We have a lot of options. So, with that in mind, with Gen Z having a lot of options in mind, what can employers do? Let's say just have one advice for employers to do. How can you engage your Gen Z employees with this, so many options around? What can you do?
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of companies now when they do employee engagement activities, full of activities. Pickleball ada, physical activities ada, movie ada, and then a lot of things, choices. Yeah, a lot of things. But again, to be very frank, I have heard Gen X coming to me and say, "Ayo, badminton ah, ayo, pickleball ah." You know what I'm trying to say? But again, back to what employer can do. So as I mentioned, depending on the population that you have, design something which appeal to what you need, what your company need, tailoring to the population you want. And also sometimes depending on the industry, for certain industry, other than the XYZ ratio, is also the work function. Some more IT related, some not. So that itself also have subcategory of how Gen XYZ works. So it's actually a little bit more complicated. I don't have a standard formula for all, but again, in training, I always talk about customization, right? So it's for employer to really listen. I think in the recent Mami podcast that we did, that is also one point they pointed out. It's not what you do, it's what we listen. So do we listen to our employees? So when you listen and take the right action based on what your company needs, that is the key. A lot of time, I think in many conferences I go to these days, many people, I'm hearing more and more the importance of feedback, the importance of listening. We are in the world where
Everyone is speaking.
yeah, you're right. Everyone is speaking, and you chat GPT, you do whatever it is. If you ask chat GPT to give you 10 best or 100 best options to do, to gel them together with employee engagement, they can give you a lot, but which one fits you? And then number two, what does your employee tell you about it? And then number three, do you listen? Go in. Number four, just like how Mami taught us, right? I think Mami, in the company Mami Double Decker, is how you park the feedback into 3 layers, whether you take action, some cannot be implemented, whether you close the feedback loop. I think this is more important than just looking at employee activity, the whole suite of employee engagement.
Wow, okay. Thank you so much for that. Right before we end, any advice for Gen Zs to... So we always talk about how employers can help Gen Z, that's very selfish of me. Now it's for you to give some advice of how can Gen Z, better help employers implement all this? How can we make your lives easier?
One of the things that Gen X find challenging coming from Gen Z, I think sometimes it's not the options, ideas, or new ways Gen Z trying to propose, but it is a manner. It is a manner Gen Z put it as if they will, again in my workshop I learned from them, they will roll their eyes first. They roll their eye first, and then instead of give an idea in an appropriate and respectful, whatever way approach that Gen X can accept, after rolling their eyes, and then they will say, do what lah. Oh, that is so painful for Gen X. Now that you tell me in this way, again, why would I want to say yes to you if that is the case? So I think it's nothing wrong with the ideas to tap on what you all have, but it is a manner, because that's not how the parents of Gen X taught them how to talk.
So just try. If you want to get what you want, guys, just try to change the way you're speaking. You might get you.
Exactly, because Gen Z these days, these are the how they speak at home to parents. And if I may take this sidetrack a little bit, I think nowadays many of my friends, they do have their children's boyfriend, girlfriend come to their house, right? Many of them say this to me, Lily, you know what? The boyfriend or the girlfriend of my son or my daughter, right? They come to our house, they don't even call me uncle, auntie, Anyway, so sidetrack a little bit from corporates, but if I am hearing that from my friends, for those for kids who have grown up, what about workplace, right?
All right. Thank you so much. Actually, there's so much more we can unpack in this. It's definitely not enough for one day. So join if you're corporate, join Lily's session. If you're Gen Z, just learn how to speak, in a more appropriate manner. Okay, so if you watched this far, Lily does have, remember, her 20th anniversary. They have 6 courses that are complimentary. You can go and register your interest. Link in the description down below. Go check them out. And thank you, Lily, for coming on.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Gen Z.